Welcome to a journey of the soul. We often feel resentful when our plans fall apart, but today we discover why an empty bucket is a gift. In the stillness of the morning, a young monk named Ari struggles with the weight of expectations and the frustration of a day gone completely wrong. Ari looked at his schedule, his heart heavy with failure. Every plan he made had been ruined by unexpected events, leaving him feeling completely lost and overwhelmed. His mind was a storm of Oan track, blaming the world for his misfortunes. He didn't realize that his rigid plans were becoming a cage for his peace. His hands shook as he held on to the remnants of his failed goals. To Ari, a broken plan meant a wasted life, a heavy burden to carry. Every failed expectation felt like a heavy stone added to his back. The weight was becoming unbearable, crushing his joy and blinding him to the present. He asked the silent sky why everything was falling apart. He felt like the universe was conspiring against him, making every step forward feel like a battle. Life doesn't always go as planned, and for Ari, the lesson was about to begin on a steep, dusty trail leading down to the mountain stream below. With a sigh, he picked up his wooden buckets. This was his last chore of the day, yet his spirit was already spent and his energy low. We use words like resentful and fall apart when things go wrong. We see the ending of a plan as a failure rather than a new beginning. The path was long, and his heart was full of complaints. He didn't know that the very thing he feared would become his greatest source of relief. He filled the buckets to the brim, determined to complete at least one task perfectly. Water was heavy, reflecting the weight of his stubborn determination. He gormed his body, his muscles straining against the wooden pole. Every step up the incline was a struggle, his breath coming in short, ragged gasps. The sun grew warmer, and the path grew steeper. Ari focused only on the ground, missing the beauty of the forest surrounding his difficult, painful journey. He didn't notice the crack in the left bucket. A small leak had formed, a tiny flaw that would soon change the outcome of his entire day. He kept pushing forward, his mind fixed on the destination. He believed that only a full bucket would bring him the satisfaction of a job well done. Behind him, the earth was drinking the spilled water. A trail of moisture marked his path, but Ari was too focused on his burden to look back. Even as the load lightened, Ari's mind remained heavy. He was so accustomed to the struggle that he didn't realize his burden was actually decreasing. The leak grew wider, the water escaping faster. All his hard work seemed to be draining away, mirroring the way his energy was leaving his body. He was almost there. He gathered his remaining strength for the final push, desperate to prove that he could succeed, despite the obstacles he had faced. When he finally stopped, he looked down. His heart sank. One bucket was full, but the other was completely empty, bone dry and totally useless. He threw the bucket down in rage and despair. All that effort, all that pain for nothing. He felt like a total failure, a broken man. The empty bucket was the final straw. It represented every failed plan and every disappointment he had endured. He wept for his lost labor and time. We often feel our effort is wasted when the results don't match our expectations. We see a hole in the bucket as a hole in our lives. In that moment of darkness, he couldn't see the blessing. He only saw the loss. He was blinded by his own attachment to the perfect outcome, but he was not alone. From the shadows of the ancient Bodhi tree, a pair of wise eyes had been watching his entire struggle with compassion. The Zen master approached quietly. He didn't offer words of pity, but a presence that radiated calm, a peace that Ari so desperately needed. He placed a hand on the boy's shoulder. The touch was light, yet it carried the weight of 1,000 lessons. Ari looked up, his eyes red. The master smiled, not at Ari's failure, but at the beautiful lesson the universe had just provided. He prepared to open the young monk's eyes. "Look back at your journey, Ari," the master said softly. "Do not focus on what you lost, but on what the path has gained from you. Think of your shoulders. When the buckets were both full, your body was under immense pressure. You were fighting against the very weight you chose to carry. But as the water leaked, your burden became lighter. The universe was helping you, easing your load so you could reach the top without breaking down." Ari listened, his breath slowing down. He had never considered that the leak was a form of mercy, a way to protect his own health and spirit. "Now, look at the trail behind you," the master continued. "Look at the flowers that line the path you just walked. They tell a different story. On the side of the full bucket, the ground is dry, but on the side of the leaking bucket, flowers are blooming in a vibrant trail of life. The water you thought was wasted was actually nourishing the world. Your failure was a gift to the earth, a silent act of unintended kindness. He realized that while he was busy, and track his luck, he was actually creating beauty. The empty bucket was not a failure of purpose, but a change. The master spoke again. Look at your shoulders, Ari. Because the bucket was empty, your burden became lighter, and the leaked water nourished the flowers. Perspective changes everything. What we see as a burden can be a source of nourishment. What we see as a loss can be a hidden gain. His shoulders felt lighter than they had all day. Not because the buckets were empty, but because his mind had finally let go of the weight. An empty bucket is not a failure. It is a gift of lightness. It is a reminder that we don't have to carry everything ourselves. Sometimes the universe breaks our plans to save our health and spirit. It intervenes when we're too stubborn to stop and rest on our own. We should learn to be grateful for what didn't happen. The missed flight, the failed project, the broken plan, they all serve a purpose we cannot see. We are so focused on the destination that we forget the journey is meant to be lived, not just completed. Let the empty bucket guide you. When a plan fails, your expectations die, and in that space, freedom is born. You are no longer a slave to a specific result or outcome. Time is not wasted when things don't go as planned. It is redirected. The universe has a better timing than our limited human schedules can understand. Look around you when things fail. There is always a sunset you were too busy to see or a conversation you were too rushed to have. Acceptance is the key to peace. When we stop fighting what is, we can finally see the beauty of what can be in every single moment. A door closing is often a window opening. The empty bucket of a lost career can become the vessel for a new and inspired creative life. Long biet on bien nung gita ko thanju jai. It shifts our focus from the empty part of the bucket to the lightness of our shoulders. Ari understood that his happiness didn't depend on the water in the bucket, but on the peace in his heart and his willingness to embrace change. He picked up the bucket, but the weight was gone. Not just the physical weight of the water, but the heavy psychological weight of his own expectations. He moved with a new grace, no longer voivant. He saw the temple not as a place of chores, but as a sanctuary of deep learning. The master knew that Ari had learned the most important lesson of all, how to dance with the unexpected and find joy in the middle of chaos. He shared what he had left with a spirit of abundance. He realized that even a small amount of water can bring life when given with love. The sun dipped below the horizon, marking the end of a day that Ari had once called ruined. Now he saw it as his most valuable day. They sat in silence, drinking tea. The steam rose in the cool air, a simple pleasure that Ari would have ignored if he were still busy. In that stillness, Ari found the peace he had been searching for all along. It wasn't at the end of a plan, it was right here. Life is like this tea, the master might have said. It is meant to be tasted, not just consumed. Every drop is a miracle of existence. He thanked the master, not just for the tea, but for the empty bucket. He thanked him for showing him the beauty in his own brokenness. His hands were steady now. The frustration had vanished, replaced by a quiet confidence that he could handle whatever the universe decided to throw his way. The empty bucket became a symbol of his liberation. It was a vessel for wisdom, a teacher that spoke through silence and lost to his soul. We are all like Ari, carrying our buckets up the hill. We all have leaks and we all face plans that fall apart in the end. But if we can see the beauty in the leak, we can find peace in the journey. We can learn to love the empty parts of life. Next time a plan fails, take a deep breath. Do not rush to fix it or mourn it. Instead, look for the flowers you are watering. Thank your empty bucket for lightening your load. Thank it for giving you the chance to see the world from a different, softer perspective today. Peace begins when expectation ends. When we stop demanding that life go our way, we finally allow life to show us a better way. He slept soundly that night. No longer haunted by the what-ifs or the should-haves, he was simply present, simply being, simply at rest. Every morning is a new chance to carry your buckets with a lighter heart. Every day is a gift, regardless of how many plans survive it. Learn to lighten your load. Learn to let the water leak where it may. The earth knows what to do with your spilled, wasted efforts. Ari was ready for whatever came next. He no longer feared the broken bucket. He welcomed it as a friend and a guide for his soul. May you find the courage to be grateful for your empty buckets. May you find the peace that lives beyond the reach of your plans. Thank you for joining us in this reflection. Remember, A lighter shoulder is often the best result of a plan that didn't go right. Carry your burdens with a smile, knowing that every leak has a purpose, and every failure is just a redirection toward a greater hidden peace. Go forward with gratitude. Let your empty bucket be your greatest teacher, and may your journey always be blessed with light and simple beauty.